Welcome to another episode of Waves of Wisdom. Today, we are bringing you this episode from this beautiful environment of Sentara Lagoon, Maldives. My guest for today is Atif Rashid, who is from Pakistan, who moved to Canada and today lives in Canada, who is an inspirational speaker, a leadership coach, a comedian who has a very inspirational story to tell us, how he turned around his life, moving from Pakistan to Canada and settling down to actually taking care of one of his friends, and also him going through the phases of cancer and how he overcame it out of it as an amputee. Welcome to the show, Atif.
Thank you.
And welcome to Maldives.
Thank you. No, it's been very nice for the last few days. And although my skin is burned quite a bit, but I am loving it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Because, I don't want to go back to minus 20, 25 in Canada with lots of snowstorm every season.
You basically escaped the Canadian winter over here now.
I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. So is it your first time in the Maldives?
This is my first time, actually. Yes.
What was your impression about the...
People are very nice and very calm. Find that I was in Holomale.
Yeah.
And then at the airport and my journey here and even at the resort. I think I see that this is as a piece. It is what I needed from the world where it's just every day there's a demand, right? But I find the people are very nice. The environment is very calm. Of course, it's really, really hot, but this is why I'm here today.
Yeah. Atif, let's, as the introduction, I mentioned that you have gone through many phases of your life. You have been migrated from Pakistan to Canada, and you have gone through so many things in life, like cancer. And today you are taking all those things in a very positive spirit and then giving back to the world. What is that in your life, in the childhood, especially bringing up stage, your growing up stage, which you think actually helped you to become this resilient?
Very good question. And, we were chatting with off camera a little bit about it. And humor is something that I truly believe was my survival mechanism growing up. Comedy, humor. I remember growing up in Pakistan, life was amazing. My parents, loving parents, but there was things that I had to go through. I went through that were not so ideal for me as a child. I was abused as a child, and I grew up as a child with no hearing in my right ear, without any hearing equipment or hearing aid. So it was really hard to hear for me in the classroom. I still remember I was always a talkative kid in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So my teacher would send me at the back of the class, to the back of the class, so that I don't disrupt the classroom. And that would even worse for me because I couldn't hear properly. So I truly believe those little things, and also being abused, getting abused, and not really getting what I needed as a child to thrive, really made me someone unbreakable. Humor became my biggest ally, or my shield as a child, and which really helped me now. With 10 years ago when I moved to Canada in 2006. And in 2015, I lost my leg to cancer. And that was, those struggles really helped me and literally showed in that moment the humor, the resilience, but the mindset of unbreakable resilience really helped me in that moment. And I truly believe when you've gone through some struggles in life, I truly believe they are one of your best gifts that Mother Nature gives you. So I started seeing my childhood as a gift, the challenges I've gone through as a child and how I survived. And those challenges allowed me to thrive as an adult, especially after losing a leg to cancer.
Yeah. So I'm sure life in Pakistan those days must have been very tough as well, because how was your environment, school and everything?
Exactly. My parents did their best to help and raise the family. We were 6 kids. And family of 8, big family. And my dad worked hard to provide us. I still remember helping my dad with his business as a 14-year-old child. I remember I used to tell my family, when my dad would send me to his shop, I would pray to God, I hope I don't get a customer today. Because I did not know how to deal with a customer. I was a kid. So they were making fun of me, like, we're sending you to help out, but you're praying to not have a customer, so you don't have to deal with someone. So and those times were challenging. As a child, I was not ready to deal with that early with helping family that are running a business, and especially growing up with lack of confidence because of my hearing loss, and especially not finding the environment to be safe because I was abused multiple times as a child. So it was really painful childhood. But of course, saw my parents trying their best to provide whatever they could in those times. And when I finished my high school at a time where I decided that I want to continue to build my life in Canada and eventually move to Canada. It was in 2005, and I started working on my application and to get my education in Canada. Definitely life was the best. And one emotional thing I share with people, that it makes me sad sometimes, that I wish I had known what it is like to be a child with a normal childhood. And it makes me sad sometimes. I don't know how it's like a child who has a safe environment. Yes, my parents did their best to provide safe environment. The abuse, the hearing loss, all that came with it. It was a tough for me as a child. And that's kind of where I use that as a gift to help others, adults, kids, to be able to get the need as to thrive in the environments that they are in.
So why Canada out of all the countries in the world? Why you choose Canada?
Especially because, there's we were looking for opportunities, where the most opportunities are, and especially how I am, right? I always trust people very quickly, and I always take people at face value. So I was being tricked a lot in my own home country, in Pakistan. So if you're a naive person who trusts people, take people on their face value, you get tricked very quickly. People take advantage of you. And that's kind of what I was, person I was. And my mother always would tell me, I think you should go to Canada. Society has some protections against people, for people who actually are so too kind, and they believe people before they even suspect they might have some other goals in mind against you. So I think that's kind of what thing I remember from my mother, but also my brother was already there. So we caught, the best natural move would be to go to Halifax, Nova Scotia, where my brother was. So I decided to actually move there. So I started my BCom, my Bachelor's of Commerce, in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's a very small town.
So I read from some of your speeches and articles and some publications about you that during this time you made you came across a friend called David, right? So can you tell us a little bit about?
I still remember that evening.
David's.
I remember very clearly. In my first year, I had no friends, so I was pretty much only the person, I guess you say, color in that whole entire department. Maybe only a couple of people. So it was really hard for me to connect with people. My English speaking skills were okay, not the very best. So I was a bit shy, didn't have the confidence. So I remember we had this midterm, and it was a very difficult one. So I was really stressed out. You have a midterm. It was very difficult. You want to have this friend, and you want to share with this friend and how difficult it was. You want to share your feelings with someone. I had nobody, really. I was just standing there stressing about it. And next to me was this tall guy, 6 feet, David. And he was from Halifax, Nova Scotia. His family was from there. And we ended up just chatting just naturally. It was just natural convergence of the conversation that we're both stressed out about this midterm. And he asked me, no, I normally study in the lab upstairs. And I was like, I don't know any lab, because I used to just go to campus, my university, and come home. Because I had nothing I had no friends, so there's no point for me to stay there. So he gave me a tour of the entire department. And I remember that. And that was the start of our friendship, where we hung out, ate fast food together and everything. Like, we were just inseparable in that moment for years and years.
So you helped him through his when he got sick. How that happened, and how that experience actually prepared you.
Definitely, it's a very important one. Right? In 2010, so he before 2010 he moved away to a different part of Canada, Calgary, Alberta. He found out that he has this swelling in his leg, and he came back to Halifax with his family and found out that he has a cancer, a very aggressive cancer in his knee. And I still remember spending time with him the night before his amputation. I still remember watching with him. And then I remember back in the days, we used to have CDs. His dad rented a CD of Cool Runnings. That's a movie. David and I watched together in his basement. I did my best to uplift him. And, to be honest, he was always so positive. I would always smile. And that's what I learned from him, how he was able to stay positive throughout his amputation journey. But then even after throughout his chemotherapy. You know, if you look it up, chemotherapy just messes up your entire body and everything about you, right? You become a different person. And I saw him always smiling. And I remember he was craving this fast food, like a junior chicken burgers, beef jerky. So I would just go and bring it for him just to kind of cheer him up. Whatever I could do in the moment without knowing what he's going through, right? I didn't know. How do you uplift someone who has just lost a leg and going through this painful chemotherapy? But I was there for him. The biggest thing I learned that he always smiled. I never saw him complaining anything about that he's going through. And he was always very positive in the moment. I would think that stuck with me. That moment stuck with me, that David always smiles. What is up with this guy, right? And I didn't think of it much in that moment. But if you want to ask me later, and 5 years later, when I found out in 2015, January 2015, that I have a large tumor in my right leg. And even David was so shocked. How can that happen? I'm from a different world, Pakistan. I move here, become friends with him. And it's just a bizarre story.
Yes.
I still do not believe it that just happened. I feel like I'm living this nightmare. It's probably going to end. So I found out I have a large tumor. And I told him, I was just joking around with him, David, you gave me cancer. We just laughed about it because, what can he do? In the moment where your back is against the wall, it's best to give yourself the relief you need and make the better decision. So I think humor always stayed with me as a child in Pakistan and dealing with my own challenges as an international student. Oh, with cancer. And I remember going through my surgery, February 2015. And David was with me every single day. He was not living in Halifax in the moment. He was in Bermuda during those days. So he would go on Skype with me and tell me, legs are overrated. You don't need any legs anymore. It's one leg. Look at me. I'm doing everything. For the last 5 years, I've been living without a leg. It's fine. So all those funny moments, but also realistic example in front of me that David went through this for 5 years. What is my excuse to be here, sitting here, complaining and being sad? So if it was not for him, I would be really, really depressed because my son was just 11 months old. And he was just growing up to be this 1-year-old kid. And that was the biggest fear I had, that maybe I'll just die of cancer and he will never see his dad. And David's companionship really helped me. And because he just always held my hand, even if he was not around me, knew I have David to kind of look up to. And that's kind of where my journey begins after amputation. I stayed positive, and I wanted it to be a movement that goes around the world, inspiring people, uplifting people like David did to me. And the movement I talk about it's called Inspire One, Impact Billions. David inspired, helped one person to stay positive. And look at me, I'm going around the world. And that's what I truly believe in. When you truly inspire and uplift one person, you actually are potentially inspiring billions of people around the world, because I truly believe in the ripple effect of inspiration. And so I remember my first year, I fell over 20 times. It was very difficult, but I had the companionship of David, my family, my son to look up to. Because I remember in my 30 minutes before my amputation, I had this thought in my mind, what have I done over the last 30 years, 3 decades of my life? I haven't really lived with clear purpose or meaning. And if I were to die today, what story my son Aslan, his name is Aslan, he was 11 months old, but now he's with me here. He's 11 years old now. What story would he remember me by, right? If I were to perish now, what story he has that will carry me in his memories? And the answer was nothing, really. I was doing whatever I think everybody's doing, just 9 to 5, paying bills and everything. And that was the biggest regret in the moment. And I made a promise in that moment that I will create a purpose for myself or find my purpose. But not only that, I'll carry all of your viewers, everybody around the world with me on that mission, living more meaningfully, more purposefully.
This is something I think your story is really inspirational. And like you mentioned, like inspiring one, we never know the ripple effect of it.
You can't even calculate it.
Yeah, it is just like if we throw a stone on this lagoon, the number of ripples it will create.
You might not even see the ripples, but there are ripples going
there are ripples
forward.
going how far it will
Your
go.
frequency.
Yes. at a frequency. You're right. And when you mention about the purpose, actually, this resonates with the theme of my interviews these days because I'm talking about becoming unretirable and finding the purpose and passion so that you can hold on to it till. So I think these things which came, you're originally a CPA, right?
So I'm an accountant. So basically,
yeah.
by training, I'm a CPA, an accountant. And
I think something both of us have in common. I'm also a chartered management accountant.
Very nice.
At the beginning. From an accountant to become an inspirational speaker is something not we see every day. So you think this purpose is because you wanted to leave a legacy or a story for your child and the world, or is it the circumstances which you went through which made you to find your purpose? How would you do it?
So it was both things really, but also I think when my back was against the wall, I was going to lose my leg. I was going through a disability, eventually living my life with a disability. But then my son was kind of a light in this in this dark moment in my life that I have to live for him with more purpose and more meaning. And you say this, it was just my son, but also I promised myself I'll carry everyone because I saw the regret in my own body that what have I done? I've lived 30 years, but that's yes, you have to do all those things you have to do, pay bills and take care of families. But then what is it that the end game here? I love this quote by Jim Rohn, very famous author and speaker. We're not getting out of our life. But what is the end game here then? Nobody, no matter how safe you play, nobody is going to be, can avoid that consequence of death. And that was a moment for me to a wake up call. And that's what I've been doing since then, teaching others. Not everybody has to lose a leg to get that shake, right? I mean, for me, that was a blessing in disguise. And then I use it as a gift for others. Not everybody has to go through a severe illness or challenge like this. People can actually find a way, even without big issue like I have. I don't call it issue. I call it a gift. So I tell people, I teach people to work on their mindset. And this is the first thing you have to go through. Even in this room, whatever you see was in someone's mind at the beginning, right? Exactly. If they were not thinking beyond limitations, it wouldn't exist. I tell people that. And I think that's kind of the starting point for everything. And going back to your point about becoming unretirable. And that's what I actually teach people, that when you, as someone famous said, is that when you find something that you would do without getting paid, you would do without getting paid. Then you will know that you will not work another day in your life. So what is the concept of retirement? As humans, we're not supposed to retire. We should be radiators, right? We should be radiating what we learn from our lives until we take our last breath. So I truly find the concept of retirement is it's not for humans. I mean, maybe it's for machines, not for humans. We are humans. We have so many beautiful experiences that we can inspire and uplift. I mean, I'm not saying everybody has to be a professional speaker, but you can actually uplift people around you. So going back to your point, yes, I truly believe once you know something that you would even do for free, if you're that passionate about it, you will not work another day in your life. And I can attest to that. And even though I'm an accountant, people say, oh yeah, it's a 9-to-5 job. But I make my job colorful because I found something that I'm passionate about. So I'm still working in as an accountant, but people around me cannot escape that positivity and escape that inspiration. Every day they get to meet a person who is just so uplifted. So it's a blessing not just for me, for everybody else around me. Being an accountant, someone who can actually better, who can actually inspire better, who can actually.
So you are inspiring accountants as well.
So it's someone even asked me at work, Atif, what are you doing here, really? I mean, that's pretty much like 9-to-5 job. And now they're seeing that I am infecting everybody around me in the office and across departments with that positivity. Why can't I be an accountant and be an inspirational figure, right? Or just a person who cracked the code that everything or anything can be explained in either a positive way or negative way. That's a fact. So how you look at something is how it determines your path forward. Yeah. So I have to say, I brainwash people into positivity. And by saying that, I'm not saying do not think negative. We are built to think negative. We are built, we have our brain.
Survival technique.
So I like to say we all here are the generations of frightened ancestors, because if they were not frightened, we wouldn't be here. You have to be frightened to protect your land, your family, your gatherings, right? So our brain allows us to survive. But now live in concrete homes. We have police. We have safe environment. Nobody's coming after us with a knife or an animal running towards us. So we need to work on our mindset where, yes, use our basic ancestral abilities in our brain to protect us, but not to the point that you're not even taking on an opportunity in life, whether it's a new workplace opportunity, a project, or speaking opportunity, whatever it is in your life, or even thinking outside of your mind where you have limits. Break the limits and think. So I truly on it. I mean, I would love to read your book definitely because it seems like what is been on my mind.
Thank you.
Becoming unretirable.
Thank you. So this I also came through different phases of my life and realized this actually. One of the incidences which actually made me realize was the retirement of my dad and what he went through, and then how he passed away, and all those things actually led me to always question, whether that is something we should do. And professionally, I'm also from the pension industry as well at some point of time. So I have realized.
So you see firsthand.
And also while working in my corporate job as an HR head, I have actually made a lot of people retire. So the emotions they went through, how their life turned around, and these things are something I think we need to tell people to actually get ready to prepare themselves much before even if they think of retirement. So my solution for that is actually to adopt in a unretirable mindset. Like you said, mindset is everything.
Be of service because you have gathered 70 or 60 years of experience. You need to give back, radiate. And I use this framework, the power of positive mindset framework. The last part is radiate, right? So you recognize the opportunity, you reframe your situation into something positive, and then you actually realign, you find a creative purpose. What is it you want to do? And then the fourth is really replacing the unproductive negative thoughts with the positive ones. And the last one is actually radiating. I think people need to radiate more.
So it is
and 5R technique. So it is very good because it's a gist of my own life, what I've gone through, what I've really been able to do. And it gives the people a very easy framework to follow. I mean, I'm not saying I did it, you should be able to do it too. I use neuroscience. I've been doing research in neuroscience areas, learning from books and research studies where our brain is built to change
all the time.
30, 40, 45 years ago, the thought was when you were becoming an adult, your brain is set. Now we're talking about neuroscience and it's talking about our brain has the ability to restructure with every thought we release. So again, like I said, is when people are retiring, right? It's all about changing their mindset. And with all the disease and everything that's happening these days, infections, I've seen people not even being able to enjoy retirement. You're waiting for all your life for that moment to happen, 60, 65 years, and you're too sick to enjoy, or you're not even alive anymore.
As someone who has went through this cancer and all those things, can somebody be so sick that they cannot think positive? Will there be a situation where somebody cannot think positive?
It's a very good question, valid question. I've been through it. I think as humans, we have the ability to, like I said, 5 R's, right? The first is recognizing and then reframing. These are very important tools, and our brain has this ability. It's called metacognition. If we give ourselves a break, so when we are facing a situation where we feel like, okay, I'm dead, whether it's a disease or somebody's attacking you, or even could be like a workplace situation when you're going into a meeting with your boss and you don't know what he's going to say to you. Are you fired or are you gone? Or what is it that's going to come out of a meeting? People go through these same emotions of negativity, right? And that's, like as we said, already discussed that it's our protection mechanism. Can't eliminate this.
Yeah.
We always will be negative. So if someone is going through cancer, it's okay to be negative because that's a human response. But what I tell people, I teach people, do not suppress it. Be negative, express your emotions, but then know this, it is your responsibility to deal with this whole scenario. I mean, nobody's going to come and feel your pain. Yeah. You feel your pain. You feel your fears. You feel whatever you're feeling right now.
Yep.
So even your loved ones cannot feel what you're feeling. I realized that during my journey with amputation and cancer, I was all alone in this. So it was me taking responsibility. So sooner we understand this, doesn't matter the difficulty we're going through, it's a responsibility on us, on someone who is suffering, taking responsibility for themselves. And I use the work of Viktor Frankl. I don't know if you read him. His book is called Man's Search for Meaning. He is a Jewish psychologist, psychiatrist. He was a Holocaust survivor. He was in 3 different camps. And if that person or people around him can be positive, nobody else has an excuse. Those were horrible conditions in concentration camps for those people. And I remember in his book, it says, we used to invent jokes in those horrible, horrible conditions to just relieve ourselves of that pressure. I mean, we have humor. And he talks about humor in such a beautiful manner. It's a uniquely human thing to have humor. You wouldn't see an animal smiling or laughing, cracking jokes. It's a human thing. Why is it there? There's a purpose for it. When you see no way out, it's okay to be a little bit funny and humor, create humor, because if those folks, they thought they were going to die any moment, they're going to be killed, but they were able to create humor in those conditions. So humor is an important skill. And I truly tell people that it's not something that you're born with it. You actually you can develop it as an adult. So I teach people using humor as a leader.
How can somebody who thinks they are not funny, they don't find humor in situations, can actually develop this muscle?
Of course, developing by being in the company of others who actually have the skill. Like, for example, I do class with people, and then if they're like want to be more, especially leaders, go through a lot of stressful situations, especially times like these where a lot of mass layoffs, the AI transformation, and there's so many things happening. Leaders are struggling because they need to connect, even though people don't trust them anymore, because, you're the guy because you're deciding who leaves, who doesn't leave, right? So I help leaders to be more, to teach them humor, skills to be more humorous during times to give them a relief, right? Yeah. So like, go back to your question. It all takes a practice, of course, and be in a group setting where you're encouraged to speak your mind. Because a lot of times there's a reason we don't actually crack joke about something that, oh my God, I don't know what people are going to think. The first thing that comes to mind, they might take it the wrong way, right? Or right way, or whatever. It's just so many thoughts we have. So for humor to work, it really has to be spontaneous, and it has to be your thoughts, right? You can't just write a joke get someone to tell you a joke and you will read it to me. No, that's not going to work. It has to be spontaneous from within you, and that's your joke. And really being confident is important. Like for anything else, we need to do those skills. Being confident, being more authentic, and it's going to be real you. So I teach them in a classroom setting to be able to open up how they see humor. What is it that they think about humor it is? Why do they think they're not humorous? As humans, we are born to be able to crack jokes, fun, and laugh about things even we should be laughing about, right? I mean, a last thing anybody wants to do is laugh right before amputation. I was laughing, and nurses, doctors were laughing, right?
What are you saying then? Can you describe that situation?
Of course, it's a funny one.
Yes.
I go on stand-up comedy shows in Ottawa, where I live. I always get laughs on this one. So we're walking in, they're pushing me, my wheelchair, into the operating theater, and the doctor walks in the operating theater with a Sharpie, the marker?
Yeah.
He literally marks my right leg like this. What are you doing? Oh, you just want to make sure you don't cut the wrong leg. And I was like, okay, that's a relief. Last thing I want is to get the wrong leg cut. So, and they start injecting me with all the anesthesia and all the chemicals. And I was about to doze off, and doctor comes near my ear, just confirm which leg it is. I was like, dude, you should know by now. And that cracked the entire room up in laughter, because I knew what he's asking. He's double checking, making sure. But for me, I had to create humor in that moment because I was under a lot of stress, because I will wake up with one missing leg and a disability of a lifetime. And for me, humor was a key guard that I don't freak out. I was not freaking out. It keeps you calm. Humor keeps you calm in a very, very difficult situations. Like people in concentration camps. Viktor Frankl talks about it. It allowed, even though they knew they were going to die at some point, but it helped them keep calm and maybe do a plan better, maybe eat better. Because,
what is that people have to find humor in? Is it in things which are happening at this moment around them, or bring in something, jokes or something which they have experienced from the past?
The humor is really a day-to-day moments, what humor is. So I'll tell you an example. So I have a prosthetic leg I wear every day. So when I go to airport securities at different airports, they treat me differently. In Europe, they're like, they don't make me take it off. But in Middle East, they treat it like a luggage. They don't treat it like a part of me. In Europe, America, it's part of me. Yeah. So they're not going to take me off. They're just going to check it. Good. But in Middle East, a lot of times they make me take it off. And what I did is, just to make a humorous point, I put a luggage thing here, the tag. And everyone was asking me, did they really make you put that? I said, no, I'm just being funny. So it was a kind of a humorous thing. You see, it's not like you have to create a situation. See humor in a day-to-day situations, right? How do you see that? It's really you, your eyes, your brain, how it functions. I mean, I get people to practice that, right? How do you see humor is really let loose, because when we are so afraid that I'm going to upset someone by making a joke or something, that's when you can't really, I mean, you've seen people, stand-up comedians at the big shows, right? To really think they really care about people getting upset. If they did, they wouldn't be able to stand up comedy. It really has to be a very open yourself experience, right? And I think it's not even just being a comedian. You become a better leader. You become a better handler of a stress. If you're stressing out about something, it's okay to joke around about it. Just becoming more stressed
is one of my ways of handling stress as well. The end of a busy work day, I would love to have at least 30 minutes of.
Oh yeah, and I remember my mother. I mean, that's the best thing you can do to yourself, right? Being able to get the time for yourself, because a lot of times life is busy, as things you have to take care of. If somebody watches you just watching comedy, dude, there's a ton of things that need to be done, and you're here watching comedy. Like, kids need to be taken care of, your parents and stuff, and that's how people don't value humor enough. Again, we're talking about humor a lot, and I think it plays a huge role in a leadership in general and resilience mindset, because the only break we get in life when we're struggling is a humor, really. People in this like Viktor Frankl said, like, I feel like when I found out I have cancer, I was watching stand-up comedy and comedies, like shows on Netflix. Straight. I think now I understand now more about psychology than I said. What I was doing is allowing myself to have a break from this tragic circumstances, right? Yeah. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years now, where I've been I teach leaders to be more resilient leaders around the world. So I've been traveling across Middle East and across Canada as well. I'm here in Maldives talking to you. So it's really about, I think one thing I want to say is, what I would sum up my conversation here, treating your when you call something a shortcoming, or that's something you don't like that in your life, treat those things as your gift, your medals, and then how you can help others. Their lives can be a little better. You've gone through it, you overcame it. How can you make it better for someone else? And now I like this book called Create the Life You Want by Arthur Brooks. It's a pretty good book. He's a very good author, researcher. When you are in a giver mindset, your own pain seems very less. Because then you are utilizing your energy to not just get stressed out about yourself. You're actually giving out the light to other people. And this is what I call it the last R. The fifth R is the radiate. You got to radiate. Otherwise, the suffering becomes this suffering for nothing. And that's what Viktor Frankl talks about in his book. Life is not unbearable because of the circumstances, but rather because of the lack of meaning and purpose. When you give it a little purpose and meaning, your mindset completely changes. And that's what really in a nutshell I do, and help people kind of change how they think.
This is very important, I think, coming towards an end of our conversation here as well. How important is, you think, to adopt a unretirable mindset? Like you mentioned, I'm into to be relevant, to radiate, to be somebody of light for the rest of your life. How important it is to give back others and serve others.
So again, very good question. And this has been on my mind for a while now, and you gave it words. Amazing. So this book is very timely, and I would love to look at it and read it, because I've been seeing a lot now, the way the workplace is changing, the AI transformation, the mass layoffs and everything. People look like I feel like they're lost.
Yeah.
I mean, they were supposed to retire and have a nice pension and then go around sailing. What is happening? They're losing their jobs 10 years before retirement, and they can't really do anything. And some people even a few years before retirement. So it is very important, not just because in a retirement mindset, giving back is the most human thing we can do. And now there's been research done. Dr. Arthur Brooks, he's worth reading his book, Create the Life You Want, I believe that's his name.
Yes.
It literally changes your mindset when you give back. And let's say I live with chronic phantom limb pain. So pain of a leg that is not there. My brain still thinks I have a pain in my leg. Leg is not there. It's a weird kind of pain. When I inspire others, I feel less painful, physically less painful. I forget my own struggles in the moment because our brain actually loves giving back, giving. And actually, it heals us in the moment, right? So whatever you're struggling, when you develop a mindset of giving back, and I call it Inspire One Challenge. Whenever I talk, at the end of my talk, I give people Inspire One Challenge, meaning living more authentically and at least inspiring one person a day. How do you do that? It is just by being more present when you say thank you. We do say thank you quite a bit. It's an automatic response. If someone gives you something, you say thank you. Why? What are you thanking the person for? Just being more mindful, a little bit more deeper, or just listen to someone. If someone is struggling, just listen to them and just say a word. Just be there for them so you hear them. Or be someone's accountability partner. Means if, let's say I'm struggling with some tasks at work or home, family, tell them, you know what, T? Write it down on a piece of paper and take a picture of it and send it to me. In a couple of days, I'll remind you, hold you accountable. That goes a long way. It happened to me once. My friend did it to me, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. It is such a beautiful thing to do with someone. Inspire One Challenge is an easy thing. You can just do it, but its requirement is you are present in the moment. Can't be just automatic response, right? We do that, a lot of things automatic. And our brain is built to save our energy. This is the weirdest thing that I see, that our brain consumes more than 20% of our whole body energy. But the way it's built is it always tries to save our entire body energy because it knows if you're spending too much energy, it's not going to get what it needs, right? So anything you do with more energy, spend more energy in the process.
Energy is very important concept.
It's very exactly. So going back to your question from unretirable mindset, yes, for people who are close to retirement, they should understand that there's no such thing as retirement. They are an unlimited beings in terms of giving until they take last breath. So once you are able to instill that mindset in people's lives, retirement is going to be more like a simple financial concept. You retire, you get some money, and then you continue to give back until you'll take a last breath. And then you're not going to stress out about life. You're going to get paid still because, like I said to you, when you want to do something for free without getting paid, Mother Nature will take care of you. You will get what you need if you are authentic in the process, honest, and you want to believe in giving back. So definitely, I totally agree with giving back is a scientific concept now.
Yeah.
Because Arthur Brooke talks about it. When you give, let's say, it doesn't matter how much you have. It's about what you give out of what you have. If I have $10, $1 would be enough to change my psychology. Yeah. It's not about, I'm giving only $1. No, it's not like that. When you give $1 out of $10, you become a problem solver. You become a leader. You become someone who doesn't always focus on your shortcomings. Yes. Because if I start thinking about, I only have $10, I can't really give anyone anything, really. So you becoming that more focused on your shortcomings, that you don't have enough money. But when you give $1 out of that small amount of money you have, you become abundant. Someone with abundance. So going back to your initial question, yes, it is very important. It is scientifically proven now. Research has shown giving back is such an essential thing. Even if you're feeling so in pain or you don't have enough in your life, your own life, you give because that's what you need in that moment. Gotta get yourself out of that mindset of I don't have nothing, no family, no partner, not enough, money for my job or business.
Is this why in Islam it is encouraged to give charity when you are sick or family members are sick?
And there are hadiths, right? Yeah. They talk about that you give, you're going to get multiple back. You wouldn't believe Arthur Brooks said the exact same thing.
After research.
That gives me like chills, man.
Yes.
I mean, he talks about it that you're going to get multiple folds back. That's a reality.
I think my next question, I don't know whether it is the right question to ask from you, but I'm sure I can twist that a little bit because one of the concepts which I'm thinking about is actually to become unretirable, you also have to take care of yourself. You should have a fit body and a mind, to give it back. But I think it would be right to ask from you, somebody who has gone through all these stages of health issues, how much health do you need actually to do this?
I mean, there are people who are far worse. Yeah. If that's what you want to use the word, worse condition than I am, they're giving back. I'm missing a leg, and I it was painful for me to walk from my home and make a journey here. Luckily, you got me in the process, but it is not easy. It is painful. But I think the important thing is how do you realign yourself with your life, right? And then one of the third R is realign. It's very important. Why are you even getting up in the morning? What is it that makes you get up? I mean,
Yeah.
it shouldn't just be paying bills. I mean, yes, you have to get up so we can pay bills, but that shouldn't be the only reason. That should be a tiny reason for you to get up. I mean, that's what I've been preaching, and that's what I do. Help leaders.
It's too small to become a purpose in life. Right?
You're reducing yourself to this purpose that you're getting up because you have to pay mortgage, you pay bills for your kids. That's most essential thing you have to do. Like breathing. You don't get up just to breathe, right? You breathe, that's what you do. But then what is it that really gets you up in the morning, and what legacy that you think you might be leaving behind? How you will make the world a better place?
Because it was the impact.
What impact? Exactly. What impact you leave? So going back to your question, like you asked, right? How much help someone needs, right? It's really, I could say today, if I didn't have a clear realignment in my life, the purpose and meaning, I would be making excuses. I'm missing a leg. I can't just go in and inspire people. I mean, I'm tired. I have back pain. I would tell you a lot of things, and you would be questioning, why are you even here? Why are you here? Yeah. You should be taking some rest in your villa, right? Enjoy on the beach. I think the more we are aligned, the less excuses we have when we want to give back. If a person has $10, if he's thinking in a way that, oh, $10, I don't have enough money, so I would rather keep it for myself. If they understand to realign completely, they know their purpose and meaning, how the impact they want to leave. That will be the opportunity to give $1 to someone who might be able to use it. Not saying I have only $10, I can't really give much anyway, really. So it's more of a mindset of a closed mindset where you don't see growth in that mindset. So one day you will have billions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then you're going to give back. And that's what research talks about. You become what you are right now. A bigger version of that when you get more money, more wealth, more health. So what you're right now when you're not the best in your physical or mental, that's what's going to come out when you're going to get bigger, right? Yeah. So I think it's really about training your brain. And going back to your question is really, there's no right or wrong answer that what health or how much wealth you need to give back. Actually, to be honest, you need nothing. And that's kind of what, you raised the very good question about Islam, right? And that's the thing I find in Islam, it does teach you, give back no matter what.
Yeah.
Whatever you have. When there's hadiths, there's stories that people give back, even they had nothing. It's a concept. Now science proves it. Atif Brooks talks about it a lot, about that how much you give little, you give so much back. Because you turn your entire psychology when you give back. So you think the only people with a lot of money and a lot of health are responsible or changing their psychology? Even people with less money, with less health, they should also change their psychology. How you do that is by giving back. You should not disconnect yourself from society because you don't have much. Whatever you have, you are able to give. It takes the right mindset. I think that's kind of where training comes in. You pray 5 times a day in a mosque. Why? We can pray one time, God knows it, right? But it's not about that. It's about the reminders. So Inspire One challenge is about the reminders. You make a daily practice. And I don't know how much time you have. I want to give you this badge. It's Inspire One badge.
Thank you very much.
And I create these badges myself. So it's not something I order on Amazon or some sort of a website as a merchandise. So I don't give everybody this. So whenever I connect with someone deeply, I give them this badge. This badge is a call to action. It's a promise to inspire one. And it's a call to action on a daily basis. And it's a mission that is going to go around the world and inspire one person. And even when I go on a big stage, I don't think of inspiring hundreds of people. There's one person that will really hear me and will make a concrete change, like I did at one point. And all it takes is the one person truly touched.
Thank you very much for being a guest on my show, and this conversation has been very inspiring actually, and I'm sure you have inspired me today, one person definitely. So I'm also going to remember this and going to inspire more and more people. What will be your last words to our audience to inspire them, to give them a bit of a wisdom which you have collected over years?
So you want me to look at the camera, or does it matter? Okay, please. So one thing, a couple of days ago, there was a kids run, and I said a few words. There's only one person that can stop us from dreaming big. And there's only one person. It's really us. And really, that's a really It's a beautiful truth we often really don't understand very well because we think sometimes, we wait for the things to be perfect, aligned, and then we will make a decision or we'll dream. And I tell people this, everything around us these days right now, we enjoy the internet, the technology, that everything around us was in someone's mind or dream. And I would tell the audience, your audience doesn't matter if you don't see an opportunity, you don't see a light, no one can stop you from dreaming big except yourself. And that's a responsibility is on us. If you're not dreaming big enough, that scares us. It means you just need to continue to work on it. And that's exactly what Inspire One is all about, really inspiring one and yourself. And even if you're not able to dream big, help others dream big. And that's a good way to trick your brain. If you're to help others dream big, why can't you just talk to yourself like that too, right? Self-talk, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This has been a pleasure having you on my show. And for our viewers, until we come back again, as Atif has mentioned, and from his conversations, what we have seen, that your circumstances doesn't define who you can become or what you can do in this world. Don't forget to give back to others, irrespective of your health, irrespective of the financial situation you are in, irrespective of the time you have. Give. Giving is the only way actually for you to become, one of the ways you can become unretirable and the only way you can inspire others. As Atif mentioned just now, don't forget to inspire at least one person a day, and it can create a ripple effect around the world. And until we come back again, don't forget to be awesome and don't forget to be unretirable. Thank you.